Hello and welcome to the Daily Millwall for Thursday the 10th of February 2022. In today's Millwall news, we've got comments from Gary Rowett about the upcoming Cardiff City game, so let's just jump straight into that. This is from news@den.co.uk and it's about Steve Morison. So what's Gary Rowett saying? Millwall's Gary Rowett on Morrow's Den return and thoughts on Cardiff City managers scrap at Barnsley. Gary Rowett believes Steve Morison will receive a good welcome back to his former club, but the current Lions boss is hoping his side spoil the ex-Millwall captain's afternoon. Rowett and Morison go head-to-head for the first time as managers when Morison brings his Cardiff side to the Den on Saturday. Millwall are in the Championship because of Morison's right boot, the former striker scoring their only goal in a League One playoff final against Bradford at Wembley in 2017. Morison was a popular player at Millwall for his no-nonsense style as well as his no-nonsense attitude. Morison scored 92 goals in 336 appearances across 3 spells with the Lions. He moved to Shrewsbury Town when he left Millwall for the last time as a player in 2019, but retired that September. Morison got his first big coaching job when he took over Cardiff's under-23s and when former Millwall manager Neil Harris was Bluebirds' boss before he replaced Mick McCarthy first as caretaker and then full-time last November. Morison had led Cardiff's professional development squad to 11 straight league wins this season. Rowett and Morison have actually been in direct opposition on the pitch as players, and it was Morison's Stevenage who came out on top, defeating Burton Albion 2-1 in the conference in February 2007. I think it was snowing that day. It was an horrendous day. I remember playing in that game, Rowett recalled. I imagine Steve would have been quite early in his career and went on to have a very good career. I've not come across Steve before in coaching. He's obviously a person that people at Millwall speak highly of because of his affiliation with the club in his career here. I'm sure he'll be welcome back. I'm sure a lot of people will want to say hello to him, but he's the opposition manager and we have to concentrate on trying to make sure he doesn't have a good afternoon coming back. I think it's important you recognise what people have done for clubs. Everyone would realise Steve was a very good player for this club. He scored a lot of really important goals. Morison, who once said Leicester City player ducked out of taking a frame because he was afraid of getting too close to the Den crowd, has not become any less abrasive as a manager. After Cardiff's recent 1-0 win at Barnsley, Tigers coach Joseph Lohman took exception to Morison celebrating with his own fans as he walked towards a tunnel. Lohman barged Morison and the Cardiff manager responded by grabbing his assailant's collar. Rowett saw no problem with Morison's actions. Rowett said, "Yeah, I saw that. It's the sort of thing that happens when you're a manager. It's an emotional game. Emotions run high, especially if you won the game in a very tight competitive match. I've had 1,000,001 scenarios like that as a manager throughout my career. It just shows passion. It shows people care. It might be what everyone wants to see, but for me, there's no problem whatsoever." Indeed. Have you seen that? Did you all see that? Well, if you don't, get ready because I'm going to show it to you now. So here it is. This is come on, Steve! Come on! Steve! And it ends there, so there you go. Moving on now to this from londonnewsonline.co.uk. Millwall boss confirms that Cardiff City duo are on a list of potential January additions. Yeah, no shit, we already knew that. It's not a secret. Cardiff City strikers Jordan Hugill and Uche Ikpeazu head to the Den this weekend, with Millwall manager Gary Rowett confirming a duo were on the club's list of January targets. The Welsh outfit signed the pair on loan. Hugill joined from Norwich City after his temporary stay at West Brom was cut short, while Ikpeazu arrived from Middlesbrough. Both scored in Cardiff's 4-0 win over Peterborough United on Wednesday night. Hugo also struck on his debut a 2-1 victory over Nottingham Forest. Cardiff, managed by former Millwall striker Steve Morison, have won their last 3 championship matches to open up a gap on the drop zone. They were 2 players we were interested in, Rowett told the South London Press. I won't say in what order we try and do things, but Cardiff signed them for different reasons. We couldn't quite get the deal done, particularly on Hugo. They are both good players, both very physical, and they've had an impact there. That's the way it sometimes works. We've had some good targets in the last window, and whether you get them done or don't get them done, there are varying reasons for that. They are a team whose form has definitely improved. Steve, as a young manager, has had an impact, certainly in the last period of games. They will come full of confidence. I know Steve is quite a popular figure around the club, and rightly so. When a player comes back and they have their history, then they should be given respect for that. We look forward to playing them. Our home form has been excellent. We're certainly not fearful of playing anyone at home, regardless of how good their current form is. Indeed, they signed 2 centre forward strikers that we're trying to sign, and we only have 1 centre forward on our books, and they have the 2 that we were trying to sign in the same team. Well, I don't think they played that much together because they are coming off the bench to work up their fitness. So we'll see. They'll probably score against us at the weekend. You know how it goes. So, moving on to this. Will Arsenal loanee start against Cardiff City? Millwall boss Rowett gives his verdict. And this is also from londonnewsonline.co.uk. Gary Rowett looks unlikely to put Danny Ballard back into his starting lineup for Millwall's home game against Cardiff City on Saturday. The on-loan Arsenal defender has been out since undergoing knee surgery in December. He had been a virtual ever-present for the Lions up until the end of November. Ballard played 45 minutes for Millwall under-23s earlier this week. The 22-year-old Northern Ireland international was in the away end at Craven Cottage along with Tom Bradshaw to watch them lose 3-0 to Championship leaders Fulham. This story, of course, is written by Richard Corley. I don't know if you know that he's actually a Fulham fan, not a Millwall fan, Fulham fan. So there you go. And there he is taking selfies in the away end at Fulham. So, and some of them were posted on Twitter. Rowett told the South London Press, "It's great to see him back early, but it's a difficult one as well as his rehab has gone, because when someone's been out for that length of time, having had an operation, there are still steps to take which are sensible. Probably a 45-minute exposure to a game, and then maybe a 70-minute exposure to a game. That's usually what medical teams from both clubs like. The challenge with that, of course, it's a lot easier with a striker to be a bit more sporadic with game time. With a defender, that's a bit more difficult. In an ideal world, we tick those boxes before we put them back in the first team action, but because Dan is such a good lad and has looked good in training, there is a temptation to chuck him back in, but not really in the process of wanting to bring someone off before the end of the match, because that will affect the amount of substitutions you have late on. We'll sit down today and see what the best plan is. We'll try and work with Arsenal, be sensible. I think chucking a lad back in isn't fair in the long term. We have to be respectful to Arsenal. He is their player and their asset. We've loaned him for the season to try and help him, help us and help Arsenal. It's important for us to build these relationships, and also you can't just be selfish in the short term. Chuck him into a 90-minute game at first team level. There's a lot more intensity than he's done. Now, if something happens, that is a young player's health and career. So there you go. And now we're going to finish up today's video with this story. Talking of Danny Ballard coming back. What about Ryan Leonard? Well, Garrett's been speaking about that as well. Versatile Millwall man on course for return next month, but boss wary of putting exact date on it. And this is from news@den.co.uk. Ryan Leonard is on course to make a return to first team action next month. Leonard, 29, had an operation on his ankle in early December and was ruled out for 3 months. The versatile Leonard, as well as Shea Yojo and Tom Bradshaw, are the Lions' current long-term absentees. Daniel Ballard had surgery on his knee around the same time as Leonard and is back in full training ahead of potential involvement against Cardiff City this Saturday. Millwall boss Gary Rowett doesn't want to pencil in a specific return date for Leonard, particularly given his recent injury history. Leonard injured his ankle in February last season and was expected to return, but he ended up missing the rest of the campaign. At the moment, the expectation is he will be available next month. He was end of February, start of March. Rowett said he's had a few setbacks previously, so with Lenny, Shea and Bradders we're not quite so specific with their return dates, but we would certainly hope with all three of those to see some action before the end of the season. Lenny is anticipated as an end of February, start of March return. That's if everything goes to plan, which of course it doesn't always do. So there you go. And that is it for your daily Millwall news. Thank you for watching and goodbye.